A very good evening to you, ladies and gentlemen. This is the business game presentation meeting for batch 2017-06-09 Group 6, Circle 2. I remain myself, Mentor Nick, mentor in charge of this particular group and in this present batch. The business game task is one of the is fundamental of the MMM Guider School, the only group task in the MMM Guider School, whereby students are expected to carry out, perform their tasks in groups, and students have been grouped to circles. So for this particular circles, I have 11 students in the circle. By name, I have Okabu Stanley, Maxwell Eyi Lakame, Elumo Goswill, Okachuku Roslyn, Ehijerika Teddy Udika, Adisa Temitayo, Alauba Loretta Chiamaka, Ifechu Stephen, Moses Ogundeji, Kufre Okon, and the last but not the least man standing, Kings. So they are all putting their ideas together to look at the business game task from task 1, task 7. The new country for this particular task is Nigeria, and they are here to present their solutions as they've kind of putting their findings together. So I ever hand over this meeting to the first man to speak for this particular circle, the person of Okagu Stanley. Stanley, you can hear me loud and clear. The meeting is hereby handed over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mentor Nick. Thank you, my fellow colleagues in the circle. Okay, going live to our presentation on the business task. Of course, the second slide there is showing the names of all the members of the circle, which Mentor Nick has already read out. So I won't take our time going through the names again. Of course, we do have 11 names here, and who are present also in this meeting. The task we have is to introduce MMM Global in Nigeria. And of course, looking at Nigeria, which is the country, our country of case study, I have to give you some specifics. The capital is Abuja. The leader is President Muhammadu Buhari. It has a population of 182 million people, according to World Bank population figure of 2015. Nigeria uses the Nigerian Naira as her currency. Major tribes are Igbo, Hausa, and the Yoruba, while official language here is English language. These are the major specifics we need to know about the country we are about to enter that can help us in realizing the target and the task we've been given here. Okay, going properly to the task that we are handed, quickly to task number 1. I will have to read the task out so that we will be on the same page. The task reads: you have received all the information needed in order to become managers or leaders in the MMM Global community. Now you have an important task. Enter in a new country and develop MMM Global there. This new country will be Nigeria. As a starting resources, you have internet, a team, knowledge received in the school, $50,000. Within an hour, you have to develop a plan of action for a week. You must specify the number of registration and deposits you will achieve over this period. Important, $50,000 is given only once. Later on, you should use the free resources from the system. So that's what the task reads. Of course, we can't just go headlong into this task. We need to understand the objectives of this task before we begin to provide solutions to the task that we've been given. So I now move straight to the objectives of this task, which is number 1, to develop MMM Global in Nigeria, to develop a plan of action for a period of a week, to specify the number of registrations within the period, and as well as specify deposits we will achieve over this period. So these are the key objectives of the task that has been handed down to us. So let's go to the action plans. Now, we agreed as a group that our action plan will include the creation and registration of MMM Nigeria domain for the purpose of our task. Number two, that we will create social media accounts on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, and push sponsored posts to target audience. The essence of pushing, making our post sponsored is to make sure that the post will reach more audience, because at this point in time, we are just new. We are on a virgin land. We don't know anybody. We don't have followers on YouTube. We don't have subscribers on the social media platforms. So we need to sponsor our post so that we can reach more audience. Okay. Then the other plan is to conduct 11 different seminars in 11 states around the country, with average expected attendance in each seminar pegged at 300 people. So in the first week, we hope to register about 2,500 people across Nigeria. Our expectation is that the 2,500 people will register and donate an average $62.5 each, which will total into $156,250. Now moving to the next slides, which are the specifics or the demographics. Now we need to understand who we are targeting and understand other specifics. So the question is, who are we targeting? Our target audience are students, the unemployed. We talk about bloggers, small business owners, business people, factory workers, and casual staff of companies. Because if you look at this group of people, majorly you talk about students, casual staff of companies. These are the more maligned people in the society, people who don't have much, and people who we strongly believe that this platform can, give a helping hand. So number two specific is target participants. Of course, we have agreed that we are going to target a total number of 2,500 people. We have also agreed that our target deposit will be $156,250. Now, we said that that will be at $62.5 per participant. Should you convert it at the rate of 320 naira to a dollar, that will give us 20,000 Nigerian naira, which is the currency of the state, of the country that we are carrying out our task in. Then budget for the week is $8,428.375. We'll move forward and we'll see the breakdown, how we arrive at this budget for the week. Okay, so this is the next slide. Will show you the budget breakdown, which has a total of 10 items, including one sponsored post on social media. Remember when I started earlier on, I did mention that we are going to sponsor our post on social media, which means we are going to pay for our post to reach more audience, more diverse audience, because at this point in time, we are very new. We don't have followers on Twitter, we don't have subscribers on YouTube, and we don't have likes on our Facebook pages. So we need to pay so that we can get people, liking our pages and subscribing. Number two, we'll be requiring video and photo coverage for the 11 venues. We will be requiring a hall for the 11 venues, sound system and projector, snacks and drinks, 22 roll-up banners, 2 for each venue, for the 11 venues as well. Biro and writing pads for the participants, lodging, transportation, and hand bills. So these are the 10 items that summed up to $8,428.75 that I talked about earlier on in my presentation. Then moving to the next slide, which is talking about budget and expenses. Of course, we were given a budget of $50,000, and I did mention that we've by the reason of the breakdown of the budget I talked about in the previous slide, that we spent $8,428.375, and we now have $41,571.625. The balance may look big, and the balance is in view the fact that we are just starting with 11 states out of Nigeria's 36. Of course, in the week ahead, focus will shift to a new set of states. So that means that we needed to manage our budget very well. Not because we have $50,000, we'll be throwing it away, on the first 11 states. We know we have other tasks, other states to accomplish, so we are very prudent in the management of the fund. So that's for the budget and expenses, and that's about task number 1. Okay, quickly moving over to task number 2 on slide 10. I will quickly read out what the task is talking about. It says, a week has passed. You are coming. The average contribution of a participant to the structure is around $300. Under the regulations of MMM Global, you must provide at least 30% growth in terms of participants' payments, starting with the first contributions. Your task is to calculate how many new members and contributions you will have to ensure in the next 3 weeks in order to be able to make the required payments to the older participants. It is necessary to write down your plan of actions for the next 3 weeks under the above conditions stated. Point out what resources you will need and how you are going to use them, the number of new participants and money raised during this period, what extra cost do we have, and how to attract them. Of course, just like the approach we adopted in task 1, of course, we need to list out a set of objectives that we need to achieve under this particular task to guide us so that we don't stray away from the task that has been assigned to us here. So let's go to the objective. The objective, we have to here, pay older participants both capital and interest on their donations, calculate number of new members and the contributions needed to pay older participants. Okay, so here is the approach. The average donation as we were given in task 2 is $300. Number of participants is 2,500 people as we know from our initial task, from task 1. So if you put the calculation together, amount generated by participants will be 2,500 people multiplied by $300, which will give us a total of $750,000. Now, with 30% growth on donations, that's 0.3 multiplied by 750, you will get $225,000. Of course, we cannot forget the registration bonus, which is $20 because the people registered with $300. So multiply the registration bonus by the 2,500 people that we got, we also have $15,000. So now we can get our total growth, which is a summation of the amount generated by the participants, the 30% growth and the registration bonus, so which is equal to, which is 750,000 plus 225,000 plus 50,000, which is equal to 1,125,000. So total amount needed to pay older participants will be 1,025,000 minus 750,000, which is 275,000. So new participant needed will now be 275,000 divided by 300, which is 917. If you are looking at the slide, I hope you follow and you're able to understand the approach we've adopted here. So I will go to the next slide, which talks about resources required to get new members. Now, the resources, one is training. We need to train new members on the use of social media to promote to the community, as well as perform offline tasks. Number two, we'll have to continue our sponsored posts across the various social media platforms. Number three, we have to get more aggressive with offline promotions in the remaining states in Nigeria, with many of the new members getting involved. Number four, we have to perform localized road shows. You know, we need to wear our branded t-shirts. We need to be on the road. We need to, show that the platform is working, that MMM has come to stay, and that people's life are changing with activities. Then the last resources we need will be to train more guiders to take up the task of helping new participants. So going down, however, with 2,500 participants per week, we'll be able to get 7,500 participants in 3 weeks. Therefore, if we multiply 7,500 by 300 USD, that's $225,000. This amount will be enough to pay old members and also sustain the system. Excuse me, please. I'm going to the expenses. For week 3, based on the things that we've done in the 3 weeks that we talked about on task 2, expenses for the 3 weeks is equal to $1,450. Of course, if you divide this amount into 3 weeks, you will find out that it is even lower than the 8,000 plus that we spent in the first week. And the reason for this lower amount across the 3 weeks is because we now have participants and they are joining us in the seminar. So we are no longer paying hotel bills, we are no longer paying, we are no longer paying a whole lot of that we paid initially. So the previous balance before now is $41,571.65. Our new balance as at now is $25,121.625. So this is for task number 2 on slide 13. So the next slide will usher us into task number 3. Okay, this is task number 3. So I will quickly take the first what the task is saying. A month has passed. You are 100. The same plan for another month on the basis of the results of the previous calculations. Taking into account the dynamics of growth, the number of new participants, and contributions for the next 4 weeks. Okay, so of course we need to draw up objective for this task to guide us. Now, what are the objectives? We have just a single objective: make projections for the next month, taking into account result of previous calculations. We need to make projections for the next month and taking into account the previous calculations that we've already made. So what are the approaches? You will find that on slide number 16. So we have these approaches. 1, total participant for the first 3 weeks, like we have seen in the previous slides, is 7,500. Therefore, total number of new participants in 4 weeks should be 10,000. Assume that 1/4 or 1/4 of the new members who registered in a month referred 2 new members on average. That means that 1/4 multiplied by 10,000 will give us 2,500 participants. Therefore, first month equal to 2,500 participants multiplied by 2, which is 5,000 new members. In 4 weeks, that is in 1 month, the assumed growth will be 10,000 plus 5,000, equal to 15,000 new members in the second month. Therefore, 15,000 participants in the second month will contribute 15,000 multiplied by $300, which will give us a total of $4.5 million. This growth shows that hard work from everyone is paying off. No need for further sponsored posts on social media. Now have a lot of fans to go organic. Of course, remember that on task one, in task 1, we had to pay for our post on social media. In task number 2, we also had to pay for our post on the social media. Now everybody is working hard. A lot of likes on Facebook, a lot of subscribers on YouTube, a lot of followers on Twitter. So we no longer need to pay for this post. We have a lot of members now, a lot of people on our platforms to go organic. So the expenses has reduced. People are working hard, as we can see from task number 3 that we have here. So this is the approach for task number 3, and this is all that we have for task number 3. The next will be task number 4, which will be taken by my next colleague in the circle. Thank you very much. I've been Stanley UK.
That was professionally delivered. Thank you, Stanley. I enjoyed your presentation, while I also followed the documented document. I will ask my questions after your presentation. So I think Maxwell is next to present. Maxwell, I'll hand over the meeting to you as you lead us further into your presentation. Thank you.
Good evening. I am Maxwell from Lacomet. My data, and tax 4 also saying that after 2 months has already passed, and the number of participants also deposited the amount of money, and we need to calculate the amount of money that needed to be to pay the current participant. So let's go to number 4. We talk about the tax and its objectives. The approach needed to be taken to able to get this done. And for that, to make us decline in new registration, our weekly target was 2,000 participants. That was before now. Now, the new registration down by 75%. So if you multiply 0.75% multiplied by 2,500 persons, since it's declined, so we have 1,875 persons. And this implies that new registration will drop by 2,005 minus 1,875 persons. We have to 625 persons. Now what left? To fix this deficit, that means we have to
network. Oh.
I think Maxwell has a cracked network. Can any of you continue from where you stopped? Okay, I think I'll pick at random. It's supposed to be a group work, so I assume everybody has gone through documents. So not only those presenting. Okay, Kings, if you can hear me, can you continue from where Maxwell stopped?
Okay.
Kings, if you can hear me, can you continue from where Maxwell stopped, please?
I want to know about one more.
Okay, God.
Hello, sir.
God, continue, please. Continue. Because we can continue from where you stopped, please. Gospel, can you hear me?
Hello. Hello.
Yeah, speak.
sorry.
Okay, I said this is Lomo God's Will.
Go ahead.
Batch 2016-06-09. Representing Sakutu, the third speaker. So from tax 5, he said your plan didn't work out. You did not have enough registration and new deposits to cover the cost of the current deposits. It is necessary to analyze the plan of action in this situation. How many participants' contributions needed to get this situation resolved? Due to lack of funds, there may be delay in payment, and the old participants saying that neither making their own contribution nor attract new members work. What are the objectives laid out as a team to counteract the situation? First and foremost, we have to analyze the plan of action, the result is required to achieve this. How many participants to bring in, contribution needed to get this resolved. That quickly takes us now, instead of the 3,125 new registration weekly, we now ended up with we registered a sum of 625 plus 1125 plus 1125 plus 1125. You give us a total of 5,125 members. Do the minus to see that we're having a deficit of members of 4,875. So these 5,125 with the average of $30 contribution, they were giving us a total of $153,750. Now the financial deficit we had is because from our previous projection, we now have dollars. We're able to realize only $1,462,500. So the resources needed. Bearing in mind that we are low in funds, we must look for less cash demanding means of reversing the situation. And this will guide us. first and foremost, we get guidance to work with our team members in educating both the new and old members on the need not to panic. Also use our social that new to ignore the mass media and reassure them of stability of the platform. Because at that point in time, they'll be trying to shake things up. Now, in tax 6, during this month's delay in payment, during this month, delay in payment is referral activity almost reduced to zero. The old members do not attract anyone. And so, in virtue of this situation, a pause mode was implemented in which all the old members are frozen and will be available for withdrawal when the situation will right itself. New deposits grow as per old condition, are not frozen and available as usual. Make your plan of action for another month. That's the resource contribution and the members. Then our objective is laid to counteract the situation is that we get participants to understand what pause mode really means, because at that point in time,
Okay, Stanley, welcome back to the meeting. I think you have a better network. The rest of the persons are not speaking. Oh, Stanley is also. Okay, Stanley.
Yes, mentor.
Okay, can you please can you conclude the presentation while I will go to the question and answer series and modification, please?
Okay, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, sir.
All right.
So on task 6, of course, God's will was able to.
Can you start from 5 again, please? Start from 5 again. 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, task 5. Okay. So task number 5 is saying your plan didn't work out. You do not have enough new registrations and new deposits to cover the cost of the current deposit. It is necessary to analyze the plan of actions in this situation. What are the resources? How many participants? Contributions, etc. needed to be resolved. Due to lack of funds, there are delays in payment. The old participants seeing that neither make their own contributions nor attract new members. Of course, following the pattern, that we adopted for this presentation, we do have objectives for task number 5, which include 1, to analyze the plan, the plan of action. Then 2, the resources required to turn things around. How many participants we must bring in to also make sure that the platform survives, and then contributions needed to get this resolved. Then, having understood the objective, we now go straight to the approach that we needed to get the issue solved. Of course, if you look at the, if you have followed from the previous slides, you will find that instead of 3,125 new registrations weekly, we ended up with just 1,125 new registrations instead. So for the month, we registered a total of 625 plus 1125 plus that's 1125 in 3 places, which gives us 5,125 new members. Now, if you calculate the deficit, the deficit will be the 10,000 that we would have registered ordinarily, the 10,000 that we projected to have registered in a whole month. So the deficit will now be 10,000 minus what we actually got, which is 5,125. So the deficit here, which we need to make up, is now 4,875 participants. Then going down, you will see 5,125 members with average donation of $300 contribution will just give us 5,125 multiplied by 300, which is equal to 1,537,500. Now, if you look at the financial deficit, you'll find out that we are looking at this mathematics: 3 million, which was the previous projection, minus 1.5 million, which is the reality that we have now. So which means the financial deficit we suffered as a result of the shortfall is now 1,462,500. Now, let's look at the resources we need to actually make the platform come up and running again. Now, bearing in mind that we are low on fund, of course, we are low on fund. We started with $50,000 and we've been spending all along. So we are low on fund at this moment. We must less cash demanding means of reversing the situation. Those will include get guidance to work with our team members in educating both the new and old members on the need not to panic at this time. Then number two, we must use all our social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, etc. to get participants, old and new, to ignore the mass media and reassure them of the stability of the platform. This is in view of the fact that we know the huge role the mass media can play, in trying to swing opinion to either the left or the right. So having our weapons in the social media, we should be able to, bring them to work so that we'll be able to counter the effects of mass media news bickering. Okay, so that is that for task number 5. I will quickly move to task number 6 on slide number 24. The task here is saying during this month delay in payment increased to 7 days. Referral activity almost reduced to 0. The old members do not attract anyone and do not make contributions to. In virtue of this situation, a pause mode is implemented in which all the old Mavro are frozen and will be available for withdrawal when the situation will right itself. New deposits grow as per old conditions, that is, are not frozen and available as usual. Make your plan of actions for another month. Resources, contribution, members, etc. So let's look at the objective as usual. The objective we have here is one, to get participants to understand what pause mode is. If you look at that task number 6 again, you find out that despite all the efforts that we've made in the past 5 tasks, we seem not to have achieved a reasonable degree of result that will help us, steer the platform clear from the stormy weather. So here now we have even a more Herculean task, and which we are taking really seriously. So what do we do? What are the objectives? We need to get participants to understand what the pause mode is. We need to get them to understand why it was introduced in the first place and how it could be reversed. We also need to get them increased campaigns. We need to increase campaigns and awareness activities in remote areas. We need to get more people go to the remote areas. Leave the comfort of the cities that we've been. Meet people in the remote area and get them into the platform. So the approach we adopted for task number 6, week by week, as I will read out. 1, we will use the various social media platforms to drive home the concept of the pause mode to participants. For week 1 again, we will assure participants they will not lose their donations, while pointing out that the pause mode may last for a while until the system balances out. Then week 2, we will make MMM promotional materials more visible across various social media platforms. We will also push out more letters of happiness and video testimonials, call for seminars to sensitize members on the way out of the pause mode. For week 3, we will fish out those sabotaging the system on social media and block them from accessing our platforms. We will also make update of guidance meeting available to participants to show progress. Screenshots of new donations should be uploaded to show that some participants are still responding irrespective of the situation that we currently have. Then for week number 4, we will continue reaching out via our social media platforms, put more seminars together for more one-on-one contacts with participants. So these are what we intend to do under task 6 to see how well we can turn around this situation. The next slide will lead us into task number 7. So I will quickly read that out. Your efforts have been insufficient to reverse the situation. A restart took place. All the old marvels are removed. We start to work from the beginning. Serious negative impacts of the members and unfavorable responses. 1 or 2 negative articles in the mass media and you have to make a fresh start in such conditions. A plan of action under specified conditions for a month. Okay, so of course we can see how bad the situation is now. Then we need to take a more proactive measure in terms of the objectives we have adopted. So let's look at them once again for task number 7. So the objectives are: 1, reintroduction of MMM to residents, inform them on MMM ideology and how it works, then encourage new participants to PH more. Now, what are the approaches? How do we just go about this? Because we know that it's no longer, as easy as it was even when we started in task 1. This is a more difficult task, given the fact that confidence might be low and all that. So let's look at the approach that we intend to adopt in this regard. Number 1, we have agreed that we will face the situation and talk to our members and let them understand the restart of what the restart of the system is all about. We need to answer participants' query in the most honest way possible, with patience of mind. Of course, we don't need to start playing to the gallery or trying to hide the real situation. We need to let them know, because right from the beginning, MMM is a planned platform where you are told all the truth and nothing but the truth. So number 3, we will use the social media to our advantage to push the positive side of the community. Number 4, we will conduct meetings with participants and encourage them to continue to participate in the community. Number 5, we as a team will provide help and let our members see our efforts. So we won't be there, just cajoling others to come provide help. We will have to show example. We will have to lead by example. Then number 6, we will set up meetings with guiders, equipping them with knowledge on how to encourage new participants to register in the community in the face of the prevailing circumstances in the community and the morale that is down. Then lastly, all guiders must lead by example by providing help and encouraging others under their circle, under their trees, to also do so. So this is the approach for task number 7, and of course this summarizes all that we have on this presentation, starting from task number 1 to this very moment. So this is actually the end of the presentation for Circle 2, batch 2017 0609 MMM AS Guider School. I've been Stanley Ukebu. Over to you, Mentonique.
Stanley, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your conclusion. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Let me not use that word. Thank you. I enjoy your presentation. I also enjoy your conclusion. Should I say you are mimicking or don't worry. I've seen the potentials in you, and when the opportunity comes, I will always let you know. Thank you so much for the great delivery, and I want to appreciate every members of this circle for attending the meeting. So now I'll ask a general question, and I need every one of you to respond. Every one of you in the meeting to respond. If you are not in the meeting, you can also drop your questions, drop your answer through the chat. From the tax 1 to tax 7, what have you learned? What is the major thing you've learned from this tax? Every one of you will speak. I'll call you. Godwin. Okay, let's start because the other circles are waiting. I'll just pick at random. If you have learned something from this tax, from tax 1 to 7, you work together as a group. You dissect the tax from tax 1 to 7. What have you learned, or what is the what has been? What principle do you have you learned from this tax? Any of you can speak, please.
Okay, Mentonique, let me speak quickly. I've learned to be a better manager. I've learned to manage budgets. I've also learned to manage very difficult situations. You are given a task and things are not really working out the way you expected it to be. Should you give up? No. I've learned to face the situation instead of running away or dodging from solving, bringing answers. I've learned to face it. I've learned to stand right there, and instead of running away, finding a solution.
Okay. Thank you, Stanley. Any other person?
Okay, sir. Good day, sir. Good day, sir.
Okay. Yeah, those following on YouTube. I'm also checking through YouTube. Can drop your.
Hello.
Yeah, speak. I'm waiting for you.
How to balance GH with GH.
Okay.
I
can't hear you clearly. Your network or your audio is poor. But basically, let me just quickly throw some high points about this tax. Business game tax shows all what MMM is all about in any country across the globe. It talks about the starting points, then the growing points. Talk about the peak period. I talk about the static period, and the declining period, and the building up period. Let's say the metamorphosis of MMM. That's all what the tax is all about. Stanley have said that he has learned not to give up, and when he's faced with when he has challenges, he should face it and come up with solutions, because there are always solutions to every problem. Now, the business game tax also open your mind to sustainability of MMM. Reason that it is only when new participants come into the system with new donations and old participants keep redonating. That means in terms of pH, keep repHing as the GH. That is what will lead to the sustainability of the community. That will lead to the sustainability of the community. That determines our LD. That is the pH of new participants. The more new participants come into the system and the pH, the more LDR it is. The more old participants in the community GH and the pH, the more LDR it is. Now, if you look at your tax, what actually to interest me most is the tax 4, because that's when we start having some issues. But the reason why I actually use instructed you guys to use Nigeria as a case study is because I wanted to give you guys more expo. I wanted you to relate the tax to what is happening in MMM Nigeria. If I use other countries, then you can simply didn't really go there. What happened in tax 4? It said there was an holiday and there was reduction in registration of new participants. Now, what happened in holiday? People tend to hold their money because they want to spend for the holiday on entertainment and everything. Some people want to travel back to their village, especially our Eastern brothers. They want to go to the village. They carry a lot of money there, to spend, and they come back and hustle after the holiday. So what happened in MMM Nigeria during the Christmas, when we were approaching the Christmas holiday? Now, you have drawn your what happened in MMM Nigeria is exactly what this tax force is talking about in December. Now, you've identified your problems, your objective, and your approach. And one of your approach was intensify sponsors social media campaign, which is good. Ensure every member who gets help write it of happiness and upload video testimonies to encourage people. Organize more seminars. One of the first move I expected you guys to do, because I expect my students to think outside the box, though I won't penalize you guys for that, is during the Christmas break, MMM Nigeria introduced what we call holiday bonus. Holiday bonus. I'm sure you can, a whole lot of you can remember that if you have joined the community by then. Holiday bonus was meant to encourage pH. It's not seminar that sustains the community. It is not what's called intensifying social media campaign that that sustain the community. What sustain the community is 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 activities of PH in the system. Activity of PH. That's what sustain the community. So Nigeria introduced what's called Christmas Nigeria introduced what's called Christmas bonus to encourage more donation into the community. When that did not work, what happened again? Like the task said that your plan did not work. What happened? They went for that was to froze Marlboros. Now frozen Marlboros requires that you can't GH temporarily until when the system is balanced, which is equivalent to what you have as pause mode. Another thing is that you should know that MMM has advanced above pause mode and restart. Now, because of the new model that has been introduced, DH will not be more than PH at any particular point in time, which makes it almost impossible for us to have a pause mode, a frozen mode, or a restart. So the new model that has been implemented now does not allow GH to surpass PH. So from this business scheme, I want you to have this at the back of my mind that the sustainability of the community depends on the activities and inactivities of both old and new participants in respect to the donations in the system. So we need to increase our donations. We need to bring in new participants as new guiders, prospective guiders. Anytime from today, most of you will be upgraded as guiders. So we need to intensify efforts, bring in new participants into the system, tell them about the ideology of MMM, and promote the risks of MMM to them, as well as the benefits of MMM. So that is all about the business scheme for now. Now, I'm going to tell you guys something. As guiders, your status can be revoked if you are not performing as expected, behaving. Your status can be revoked, and when your status is revoked, you can't get it back again. Even though you go back to the guidance school and re-enroll and do this thing, you can't get it back again. Your status can be revoked. So you guys, to please be a brand ambassador of Mentor Nick, please. If you want me, they just think about me that I had a mentor who gave me all, and who gave me all he has for me to post. Let me not fuck up because of him. Please just be an ambassador, please. Be a brand ambassador of the community, and before you know it, you would not regret taking this step. As guiders, you need to study more about the community. Don't just overlook your training. Come back to your login as often as you can. Read the articles you have. Get informations about about the community part time. They should be able to give solution to your downline. Now, even though you don't have an idea of what your downline problem is and how to go about it, just tell the downline that you get back to the person. Go straight to support, create a support ticket, and support will respond to you in less than 24 hours. Or better still, you have a forum of guidance friends. You all are colleagues now. You need to bond together. Now, I tell you, most of my friends now, a lot of my friends are guiders. We met in the guidance school while I was undergoing my training. We bonded together, and we've been together in the community, and we're still growing in the community. So you need to bond together. Ask yourself questions, do seminars together, do a lot of things together as a community. So guys, I don't know if there's no more to go. Circle 2, Circle 3 is waiting for the meeting, and I don't want to keep them waiting. So I'm going to have a valedictory meeting when all circles have, almost all circles are presented. then I'll give you a brief on what is what is much also more expected of you. And also know that now the power is in the hand of participants. Participant has the right to change their guidance. Like a lot of you now, you can change your guidance from one guidance to another. That is, if you are not satisfied with your guidance. So don't give your participants any window, any room to change their guidance to you. They get their guidance from you, please. You don't lose them. You need them. You need them so much. You need them so much. So guys, we'll talk more in the general WhatsApp group, and we'll also probably have another validity meeting together where we'll all express ourselves. And always remember that I love you guys, but God love you all. Remain healthy. Take care of yourself. Take care of the community, and together we will change the world. We can change the world. Congratulations, guys.
Thank you, Mentonic. Thank you so much.